angels. Actually, the word is Nephilim, which means fallen ones. Now, when Shaitan, Satan, actually his name is Gadriel, and the short for that would be God. When Gadriel, Satan, Shaitan, was cast out of the Shamayim, heaven, 1/3 of the Malachim, angels, followed and went with him. Take a look at Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. Those are the fallen ones, the Nephilim. Now, there's only one solitary mention of the Nephilim in the entirety of the Word, and that is found in Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. The King James Version most inappropriately interprets this word as giants. However, most other English versions get it right, saying Nephilim. Any place else in the Word, any place else, where you see giants or Nephilim, any place other than Genesis 6:4, such as Numbers 13:33, Deuteronomy 2:11 or 3:11, and so on, is utterly inaccurate. All those other scriptures are interpreting the Aramaic Hebrew word Rapha, which is not referring to the Nephilim, the fallen angels, the fallen ones, but to actual giants. That is, the very large offspring of the Nephilim who mated with women on the earth. Specifically, the Raphaim, or the Raphaite, characters like Goliath, whom David slew. And there, the word giants actually is appropriate, and Nephilim is not. Again, the only place where the word Nephilim is appropriate is Genesis chapter 6, verse 4, and nowhere else. Now, the actual Aramaic Hebrew word from Genesis 6:4 is Nephil. We always hear Nephilim because that's the plural term for Nephil. Now here we have the odiote. Nephil is from Strong's number H5303. Strong's interprets it as a feller, or a bully, or a tyrant. But a giant, no way. A feller, that's talking about someone who fells things, like felling a tree. Not bad. When you consider that the Nephilim have a primary goal of destroying the tree, the vine, the bloodline of Yeshua. And bully and tyrant are quite accurate too. When you consider what a bully is, belligerent, thick-headed, arrogant, self-absorbed. Nephil is spelled Nun, Pei, Yod, Lamed. Nun, picture of a seed. In this case, wanting to destroy the good seed. In this case, the bad seed of Satan. The seed represents unstoppable motion. Unstoppable indeed, until Yeshua returns. The seed refers to offspring, heirs. In this case, the offspring and heirs of Satan, Hashatan. That's what the Nephilim, the fallen ones, were doing. They were trying to create their own race. Then we have Pei, picture of a mouth. To speak, in this case, to speak darkness and blasphemy. Pei represents praising, in this case, Satan. Pei talks about being at the edge of something. In this case, at the edge of the light, entering darkness. And next we have Yod, picture of an arm and a hand, representing work, what you make, in this case, wickedness. Actions, what you do, in this case, wickedness. And worship, in this case, Satan. finally, we have Lamed, picture of a staff, representing a teacher of the flock of Satan's disciples. Represents protecting and steering the sheep. In this case, to deceive and steer people into darkness. And Lamed also has to do with being yoked. In this case, being yoked to Satan. It also has to do with discipleship. In this case, disciples of Satan. Now, you may have heard some refer to the word nephal. That's the root word of nephil, and that is Strong's number H5307. According to Strong's, nephal means to fall, cast down, out, to cease, to die, to divide by lot, to fail, to fall away, to fall down, to fell, like felling a tree, fugitive, inferior, to be judged, lost, make to rot, to slay, to smite out, and to throw down. All very accurate terms. Nephal is spelled Nun Te Lamed. Same as Nephil, only without Yod. So really, the very same interpretation can be applied. So, there you have the Nephilim, the fallen angels, disciples of Hashatan, those who were cast out of heaven when Satan was cast out. A third of the angels in heaven, a lot of followers, they came to the earth, as we see in Genesis chapter 6, mated with women. Satan wants to create his own race, and thus the reason for the flood of Noah's day
was to destroy them.
Yahweh was wiping things out. There were bloodlines of the Nephilim all over the place. And where you see in Genesis it says Noah was perfect in his ways, in the original language what it's really saying is that his bloodline was clean. There was no traces of the Nephilim in his bloodline, and out of everyone on earth. And there were millions at that time. Yahweh saved 8 people. So that's what the Nephilim are all about. Now let's look at demons. We get the English word demon from the Greek word daimonion, Strong's number G1140, interpreted as a demonic being, by extension a deity, a devil, a god. In the King James Version you'll see devils. In other versions you'll see goat demons or demons. Now for this goat demon we look to Strong's number H8163.
Satir.
Sa'ir, seen in Leviticus 17:7 and in 2 Chronicles 11:15. Strong's interprets it as a fawn, a devil, a he-goat, hairy, rough, a satyr.
A satyr, yeah.
Now, in some of my recent newscasts, I've talked about the Satanic Church, which presents a statue of Baphomet, a goat demon, a satyr. Some scholars believe the name of Baphomet was an old French corruption of the name Muhammad, with the interpretation being that some of the Knights of Templar had incorporated Islamic ideas into their belief system. Sa'ir is spelled Shin, Ayin, Yod, Resh. Shin, picture of 2 front teeth, has to do with cutting and separating things. In this case, separation from Elohim. Ayin, picture of an eye, spiritual sight and vision, having to do with watching, having to do with knowing, having to do with the Word and the Ruach converging in your living experience, as you've often heard me say. However, in this case, the opposite. It's rejection of Yahweh's word and ruach. And of course, the word and ruach not converging at all in their living experience. Then we have Yod, picture of an arm and a hand, again, having to do with your work, what you make, with your actions, what you do, has to do with worship. In this case, as I said before, worshiping Satan, darkness. And then finally we have Resh, picture of a man's head. Has to do with who your headship is. Has to do with what your thoughts are on.
Yes.
And in this case, Gadriel being the headship, Satan, and thoughts being on darkness, wickedness, evil.
Yep.
However, a better example for our study of what we see in English as devils or demons comes from Strong's number H7700. Shade. This word is seen in Deuteronomy 32:17 and in Psalm 106, verse 37.
Shadaim.
Strong's interprets it as a demon or a devil. Shade, this is a real simple one, is spelled Sheen Dalet. Sheen, as we just saw, a picture of two front teeth, has to do with cutting, separating, in this case, separation from Yahuwah. And Dalet, picture of a door. Now, Yeshua is the door, but in this case, the door represents interdimensional travel, movement back and forth, in and out of the door. Dalet also has to do with the four dimensions of space and time. And these demons are moving in and out of these dimensions, the spiritual realm into the physical realm, and so on. So, basically, shade, interesting, isn't it? You know, shade has to do with darkness. But Sheen and Dalet, it has to do with those who are separated from the kingdom, the Melchut of Elohim.
Melchut.
And they're doing interdimensional travel between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. And they're just full of trouble. People can become completely possessed by demons.
Yes.
Matthew chapter 8, verses 28 through 32 reads, "And when he came to the other side in the country of the Girgashites, two demon-possessed men went to meet him, coming out of the tombs. So fierce and savage they were that no one was able to pass that way. And see, they shrieked and screamed, 'What have we to do with you, Yahshua, Bane of Elohim? Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time?'
Bane of Elohim.
Now at some distance from them there was a herd of many pigs feeding, and the demons, the Shadim, begged him, saying, 'If you cast us out, send us into the herd of pigs.' So he said to them, 'Go.' And they came out and went into the pigs, and see, the entire herd of pigs rushed down the steep bank into the sea and died in the water." There are certainly many serious cases of demon-possessed people. Many are in mental institutions. Many are walking the streets with obvious problems. Many are walking the streets who are not so obvious, but very dangerous. Multiple personality syndrome is an example of those who are being possessed by numerous demons, possessed by them, not influenced, but possessed.
Right.
And Satan works in even uglier, much more disgusting ways, which I wouldn't care to discuss. And perhaps more importantly, demons work in much more subtle ways, which I will discuss shortly. But first, in giving you my personal belief and understanding, garnered from years of studying all this, I believe that goat demons, noted earlier with the word sa'ir, more accurately the plural term would be Sa'irim, refers to the fallen angels, Nephilim, worshippers and followers of Satan, whereas the demons, noted earlier with the word shades, are the departed spirits of the offspring of the Nephilim, who mated with women, as seen in Genesis 6, verses 1 and 2. Now, these departed spirits of the offspring of the Nephilim, in other words, the Nephilim mated with women. The women had children. They were huge. There's one story in the Word that talks about a bed that was 13 feet long. So, you're talking about an offspring of the Nephilim, 13 feet, 12 feet tall. These are the children that women bore having relations with the fallen angels, the Nephilim. These are the shades. These, when those children died, their departed spirits became the shades, the demons. These departed spirits are bound to the earth realm. And missing the experience of having had flesh bodies, they like to be around humans, especially humans whom they can create much fear, anger, hatred, or very strong emotional responses in, because it allows them to experience the flesh nature in the most potent of ways. I doubt there's anyone who has not had demons in their lives. Not demon possession, I'm just talking about demons hanging around.
Right.
Getting you worked up, creating problems in your lives. And it begins at the earliest of ages.
Yep.
Consider yourself. Consider those whom you've known for a long time, and think about those special, long-term, ongoing issues that continue to create emotional disturbances and chronic complaints or problems throughout the years. Think about the things that people wish they could control in their lives, but fail to do anything about time and time again. Things that people wish they could stop doing, but never do. Overeating, eating the wrong things all the time, demeaning oneself or demeaning one's abilities, thinking you aren't worthy of someone's attention or affections, thinking you aren't capable of achieving a particular goal you may have long desired, looking in a mirror and thinking there's something wrong with the features you were born with. All these things are just the kinds of experiences that are the results of demonic influences in people's lives. Did you ever make the mistake of seeing someone walk into a room and assume they didn't like you because they looked at you in a funny sort of way, only to find out later that you were completely wrong about it? Or, I'm sure you've had the experience of totally misinterpreting something someone said, only to find out later that you somehow just heard different words coming out of their mouth than the ones they actually spoke. One day you wound up having a heart-to-heart with them, and they looked at you in astonishment, saying, "I never said that. I would never say anything like that to you." Demons love to create misunderstandings between people.
Right.
Most people have, unknowingly, and especially at an early age in life, befriended demons.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you? It shouldn't, especially when you think about some things you've always believed about yourself that just are not true. Lies that you've come to believe in. Agreements that you've made with a demon at some point in your past. For example, you're a young child looking in the mirror one day, and the thought comes to you that says, "You have a face that's not very pleasing to look at. Your eyebrows are way too thick, or they're much too thin. Your hair is too thick, or your hair is too thin. Your eyes are too big. Your eyes are too small. You're too fat. You're too skinny. Your ears are funny looking. Your teeth are crooked. You're not an attractive person. No one is ever going to like you very much. I laugh because we all do that sort of thing. Nitpick about yourself. I'm not perfect. Really. We all have things about us that are not perfect. Things a demon doesn't have to lie about to get us to agree with. But nonetheless, they are lies because we all have good things to focus on just as well. But I put it to you that you were not hearing your own thoughts during those escapades. You were hearing the lies of a demon who was planting seeds of darkness in your life, leading you down a rabbit hole, a path of darkness that you may even still be traveling on.
That's right.
Day after day, week after week, year after year, every time you looked in the mirror, those lies were repeated to you by your demons, until one day you found yourself fully believing them. Another example. You go to school one day and see that all the boys are interested in one particular girl, or all the girls are interested in one particular boy, but you see that they are not so interested in you, and your demons start in on you.
Yep.
You thought it was your own reasoning, confirming your own inabilities to gain the attention of others. But no, it was the lies of a demon breaking you down and setting you up for greater plans of destruction.
That's
And
right.
worse still, by believing those lies, you actually made agreements with that
I
demon.
break them now in the name of
Agreements
Yeshua.
which have stolen so many moments of happiness away from you throughout the years. Learn to pay attention to and control your thoughts. James, chapter 1, verse 15. Evil desire, when it is conceived, where? In your thoughts,
Bringeth forth sin.
gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is fully matured, acted upon, brings forth death, misery, and sorrow. How did Satan trick Eve in the garden?
Doubt.
First, he waited until Adam, her headship, was not around. Next, he attempted to cast doubt into her heart. Did Elohim really say, "Do not eat from the tree"? And then he outright lied to her. "You shall certainly not die." The devil and or his minions begin by working on our thoughts. And if they work on them long enough, getting us to believe their lies as truth, eventually we wind up actually speaking those lies.
Sure.
Pronouncing them out loud.
Yes.
Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue.
Yes,
and
thank
they
you, Father.
who indulge in it shall eat the fruit
People
of
like
it.
me.
Demons are around everyone all the time, and they will lie to you about everything possible, from the most meaningless and inconsequential things to the most important things and decisions you make every day. Do you want to get rid of every single demon that you've befriended throughout your lifetime?
Yes.
Make Elohim number one on a list of one in your life. When Elohim becomes the only one you're concerned about pleasing, demons have nothing left to work with. Further, spend a lot of time in the Word, because the Word not only washes us clean of all demonic lies and influences, it chases demons away. Demons hate being around the Word, and they hate hearing anyone singing to or giving praises to Elohim. Also, you might want to do a little house cleaning. Get rid of any books or music that has anything to do with doctrines of demons, anything that teaches or promotes ideas that are not scriptural, ideas that are not seen in the Word. And get rid of any graven images of anything heavenly, of the earth, or beneath the sea. Sorry. I know A lot of people get on my case about this, but